Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Zamara. Buenos dias, darling. She speaks perfect English. I don't know why I'm doing that. Oh, I can look at myself, the video, and I see crooked lampshades and all the things that you don't see with your eye when you're looking around. But anyway, forgive me. Forgive me. Let's have coffee and forget it all. I have a Santa Claus cup. Of course. Am I going to ignore every possible thing I can do for any holiday? And we have to make our own sometimes. So good morning and Merry Christmas. I had such a good time in San Francisco with Team Montandon, or Pat's Angels. God, how wonderful to connect. And most of the people who are now working with me to launch my book, it's going to be September now. I'll keep you apprised. The reason we're waiting, my book's been finished a long time, but I keep fiddling with it even so, but is because I want to raise the money so I can tour in a bus to the independent bookstores and have other writers with me to support the independent bookstores and myself, I might say, and also to promote a charity that we will be announcing very soon, because 10% of the sales of my book will go to a charity, and all across the country it'll be the same charity. So I think that September is a much better month to travel than in the spring. So that's what we're going to do. And I had so much fun, and everyone was so warm. And the thing that's most important is to have a heart connection with people. And I have a heart connection with these people. And as I do with so many of you, oh my God, I could just list names and names and names. I started to write a poem about all of you. And then I thought, oh my God, there's so many. I would forget somebody. But there are some of you who just, you really touch my heart. Many of you do. And I appreciate it. I always light candles in the morning, and Darwin Bell knew that. So he gave me this beautiful candle in this Lenox glass so I can use it, afterward for a coffee cup in the morning. I lit the candle. I don't know if you can see it because it's down there glowing away for each one of you. And I think it's important that we pause in our busy lives. And sometimes we make them busier than we need to. And respect and pay homage to our spirit. Because our spirit is the most important part of us. It has nothing to do with religion, but it has a great deal to do with the way we feel about ourselves, with our acknowledgement of our oneness and of the universe and how we're connected to everything in the universe. The flowers, the animals, the rocks, everything. And so it's important that we acknowledge that and we show gratitude for all of those things. I was thinking this morning, because we have this whole jerry-rigged studio stacked up on books, and I have lots of books. And one of the books that I pulled out this morning, it was just stacked here, is about Mother Teresa. And I had the great good fortune of meeting with her in Calcutta. And I write about that in Whispers from God. But it's worth repeating even if you've read the story, because she is one of my heroes. And I was in India doing various things, going to an ashram actually with my niece. And we were in like Delhi, I think. And I knew Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity was in Calcutta. So I called on the phone, and the phone system in India is notoriously malfunctioning. And from our hotel room, all I got was all this static, and I was yelling on the phone, "I want to see Mother Teresa, Mother Teresa." I was yelling, actually. And I said to my niece, "Go down to the front desk, please, and ask them if they can help us with this phone call that we can't get through." So she left. And I'm still blathering away on the phone, hoping to get someone. And here I am, actually screaming, "Is Mother Teresa there?" And this voice said, "What is it you want?" And I said, "Mother Teresa." And this quiet voice said, "This is Mother Teresa." I said, "Oh, oh." And I asked her if I could come to see her. And I told her I wanted to interview her. And she said, "Come, come." But I guess she said, "Come, come." You know, she said, "Come, come." Anyway, she may not have used her hand like I do. But she said, "But no interview." So I said, "Okay." So we got on an airplane, went to Calcutta, found Missionaries of Charity off of an alley where there were, of course, cur dogs and women holding babies in ratty-looking saris, and men who were obviously down on their luck, to say the least, waiting in this alley. And it was just very simple, and there was just a simple sign that said Missionaries of Charity. And I knocked on the door, and this nun appeared, and you know, in their blue and white garments. And I said, "Yeah, I'm Pat Montandon," and Mother Teresa said she would see me. And she says, "Come in, come in." So my niece and I went in, and she led us up cement steps to the third level. And on the third level, it was open to a courtyard that you could look down on that was on the first level. And there were Missionaries of Charity down there, sisters, washing pots and pans, and you know, and they were humming, and I thought, "Oh my God, it's like the sound of music." You know, it was like, because I wasn't doing the work. But it was just love. There was such an atmosphere of peace and beauty. And so my niece and I we were told to sit on these benches and wait. And while we were waiting, I saw that there was a place to pray. It was their little chapel just across from us. So I asked the nun that had shown us up if I could go in there and pray. And she said, "Oh yes, God will listen anytime." So I go in, and it was like sackcloth on the floor, no chairs, and the altar was white, very simple, and there was just one little thing of flowers. And on the wall, there were drawings of Jesus and on his way to the cross. And they were just framed in, as I recall, just simple wooden frames, very small. And I looked at that, and then I just knelt, and I said a selfish prayer. "Please tell Mother Teresa she needs to talk to me and give me an interview." I had my tape recorder with me. So anyway, then I went back out and sat down on the bench. And soon here came Mother Teresa. Tiny little woman. Oh, she was so tiny. And she walked forcefully. And she came to us. And, you know, I'm in tears because her presence created that in me. And I tried to hug her, and she didn't want any part of hugs. And so I said, "Oh, Mother Teresa, I I would love to have an interview with you. And I was just in your chapel asking God to help me get an interview with you. And she said, she looked up at me because she's much shorter than I was, and she looked up and she said, and what did God say? And I said, God said to ask you. She said, then I must do it. And she walked into a room nearby that had a green curtain, a half curtain over it, and she reached in and got this wooden chair and dragged it out and put it in front of us and gave me an interview. Oh my God, I was humbled, and at the same time I was elated. And in my book I've told everybody what she said. But just looking at her, her feet, she was wearing sandals, of course, and the sandals had been mended many times, you could tell. And she had bunions on her feet, and, her hands were so wrinkled and worn. And this is a woman who worked, who created miracles, who worked with the poorest of the poor in the slums of India. When I hear criticism of Mother Teresa, I just think, what's wrong with you? Would you do that work? Would you? Don't criticize unless you're willing to walk in their sandals and do something like that. Many people have, but not enough. Not enough. Also in that book I write about Nguyen Vu, a Vietnamese boy who won a Peace Prize from us. And Nguyen is now a doctor, and he's a pediatric cardiologist. And he and his partner were married in my side garden 2 years ago. But Nguyen went to Calcutta and worked with the dying with Missionaries of Charity and Mother Teresa. And Mother Teresa she wasn't this gentle, tender soul that we expect. No, she's a hard worker, and she had to get things done. And when you have to get things done, you have to be tough. And she was tough in the most positive sense of the word. So I was thinking of her when this book popped out of my shelves. And her wonderful spirit. As I listen to Christmas carols, aren't they beautiful? I really love Christmas carols. And I feel so fortunate to have met Mother Teresa and to